With WWE and UFC officially merging and more, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Asked about pursuing an in-ring career for WWE, backstage correspondent for the company Cathy Kelly told Chris Van Vliet, "I don't think so. I did try once back in the day. Dave Marquez has a wrestling ring for Championship Wrestling for Hollywood up in the Valley, so I'd go there. I think I took one or two bumps until I knocked the wind out of myself. Even running the ropes, if you haven't done it, it's intense. You end up building up calluses on your back. I was bruised for probably a week." Recalling his backstage altercation with Samoa Joe after Joe went off script for a promo at Turning Point 2007, where Scott Hall no-showed the event due to health issues, Kevin Nash said on his Click This podcast, "At that point, Joe and I were friends, and I understood his disappointment and frustration over the fact that Scott no-showed. I walked up to him and asked him, 'What was that? Was that from Vince Russo or yours?' He smirked and said, 'That was mine.' So I open hand smacked him. He didn't go down, but he didn't say anything back either, so I smacked him again, and he just looked at me. Joe felt so bad about it that he went in front of all the boys and apologized directly to me. He didn't have to do that, but he was man enough to realize that I did go into business for myself." During Monday Night Raw, the Judgment Day's Dominic Mysterio along with JD McDonough were attacking Cody Rhodes. Michael Cole would end up calling the Judgment Day the Judgment Gay, as many fans made fun of this gaffe online, writing, "The Judgment Gay? The Judgment Gay Day? Ayo, Michael Cole is wild tonight. Judgment Gay was my nickname in college. Michael Cole called them the Judgment Gay. Help. LOL, did Michael Cole just call them Judgment Gay? Michael Cole really said Judgment Gay. LMAO. Recalling how Vince McMahon viewed Bryan Danielson's work in the WWE creative department, Eric Bischoff said on his 83 Weeks podcast, "Vince McMahon was very impressed with Bryan Danielson, his creative. I know that there was some conversation. I don't know how serious he was at the time. He mentioned to me that he was possibly interested in bringing in Bryan Danielson to be very involved in the creative side of things. Vince is a pretty bright guy, and you can say whatever you want about him, but I think that suggests that there is a lot of great potential there. I think that if there is anything that is going to move the needle in the next 6 to 8 months, it's going to be creative. It's not going to be anything else." Giving advice to AEW President Tony Khan on how to deal with unhappy talent, Eric Bischoff noted this on his 83 Weeks podcast. "There are some talents in AEW that are very important talents. I'm not going to name them. You know who they are. They know who they are. There are also a lot of talent there that doesn't matter. It is what it is. If those people that are there that don't matter are also the malcontents, why would you keep them around? Those malcontents are going to make other people malcontents. Cut them loose and let them apply their trade where they can. If you have to give them a 90-day non-compete, then so be it. That's the way the world works." With Nia Jax returning to WWE last night for Raw, this had many fans concerned for Kairi Sane, who was injured at the hands of Jax during their last run for the company. Kairi would end up trending on Twitter, as she is expected to make a WWE comeback as well. Here's some of the comments from fans. "Vince McMahon did one last evil deed before he loses complete ownership tomorrow morning. Nia Jax is legit back now and gunning for the WWE Women's Championship. Kairi, this is what you will be dealing with next year." Kairi seeing Nia Jax returning when she's supposed to return as well. Reminder that Nia Jax gave poor Kairi a concussion. Speaking of Nia Jax, there is more information regarding her signing with WWE, as Sean Ross Sapp reported that Nia Jax made a return to WWE on Monday Night Raw, attacking Raquel Rodriguez and Rhea Ripley. Fightful Select had noted on recent shows that we'd heard she was headed back to the company and were told she's been signed over a month, and that the hiring freeze effectively was ended this summer. She's the first signing that was made since Vince McMahon forced his way back into the company that returned on main roster TV. The Endeavor WWE merger is happening this week, but we're told it's unrelated to her popping up on TV. Several within the company actually thought she'd return before this. In a positive health update on Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who recently needed emergency surgery, he has been discharged, with it said on his Instagram, out of the hospital. Big thanks to the doctors, nurses, and staff at the Glens Falls Hospital. You made a rough few days much easier. Also, thanks to all of you who had a thought and a prayer for me as we went through this difficult time. Love you. During a conversation with Women's Wrestling Talk, AEW Women's Champion Saraya said this about facing Trinity Fatu. "I don't know about indie promotions, but I would love to go against Trin. Maybe I carry the AEW Women's title and then take the Impact Championship off her, and hell, I'll go to New Japan and take that championship too and carry them around. I'm like Thanos with championship belts. I want to take them all. I'll take Statlander's belt, the AEW TBS Championship. I'll go on and get the Trios Championship. I'll take them all." Trinity responded writing, "Saraya, be careful what you ask for. The glow hits different this era." Saraya then wrote back, "I believe you, sister. Good luck keeping hold of it. Maybe you can stop by AEW so we can catch up." Touching on the possibility of SmackDown leaving Friday nights, Dave Meltzer noted on Wrestling Observer Radio that they're not married to Friday. They're on Friday because Fox wanted them on Friday. If you remember, they were on Tuesday for a long time. They'd been on Thursday. They'd been on basically on the night that the network that owns the rights wants them to be on. So perhaps there's another night that ABC would want them, or perhaps they want them to boost Fox, which they will boost greatly because it's the #1 show on a weekly basis when it comes to cable on a year-round basis. 52 weeks a year. I mean, it's not always #1. I mean, obviously, football is always going to beat it. Big sports events will always beat it, but it's a steady performer. It'll be a steady performer week in and week out. Staying on the topic of SmackDown, there are apparently two frontrunners when it comes to a new TV deal for the show, as it was said on Wrestling Observer Radio. Something else also, when Garrett and I were talking on Friday about Disney being interested in SmackDown on Friday, the belief is that Raw and NXT will probably stay with USA, although WWE is looking for a huge increase in price for both of those shows, especially Raw, obviously from $465 to $700 million. As far as SmackDown goes, time will tell. There's a feeling that Fox is not going to go for the 300, which is what WWE is trying to get out of SmackDown or more, and that Disney and Amazon are probably the two companies most in contention for it. And if it's Disney, I brought up ABC or probably FX. It's not out of the realm of possibility that it could be on ABC, but ABC on Fridays, they have had 2020 and Shark Tank, which is actually a pretty highly rated show, and even though it's not as highly rated as SmackDown most weeks now, I mean, it was before, but lately it has not been. It still fetches higher ad rates for ABC than SmackDown would, so because of that, it doesn't necessarily make the most sense for ABC, even though SmackDown has been absolutely killing it. When it comes to Friday Night Network television, for them to necessarily make that change, I hadn't really heard people talking about it on ABC, just the possibility that it could be. The other thing too is they could change nights. As WWE and UFC officially merged into TKO Group Holdings today, Endeavor CEO Ari Emanuel said this about the news to CNBC's Squawk on the Street. We had a range of 50 to 100 with rec. We had a range of 50 to 100 with regard to back office and costs. We're on our way to kind of doing that. We did that with the UFC. We're on our way here. There's also savings as it relates to on the production side because of their production facility, our production facility at the UFC. This is a pure sports play. There's nothing more important than sports content and live events. We do 350 live events with production. We have 1 billion in fan base. The global reach of both is incredible, and you can't underestimate the value of TV rights domestically and internationally. And also the sponsorship. I think the other thing that this does, in addition to just cost saving, it enables us to kind of have a pure play and people look at EDR properly, where we have some data points last week investing in CAA at 13 to 15 times, Formula 1 buying Quint for 15 times, which is an experiential company. Without UFC inside EDR, everything's valued at a little less. I think it'll give everybody a pure play there also. Both companies have about less than 3 times leverage. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.